This gonna be my last word on the Charlie Kirk tragedy. But before I get into my commentary, I want to have a moment of silence for Mr. Charlie Kirk, which will start now. Okay, you know, over the last 72 hours since this tragedy occurred, I learned a few things. And then I don't really want to say I learned a few things. But some things you understand them, you know them, but it takes certain things for them to really be brought to the surface, right? And one of those things was black people still don't get it. Black people, I'm going to say this again. Black people, for the most part, still don't get it. And being that I'm a solutions-based, solutions-oriented person, once I see a problem, I immediately begin to try to find out the solution, the why, right? I'm trying to find out why and how can I, fix it, or how can I, but we have to find out the why first and foremost, right? And you know what the why is? The black man. The black man is weak. He's pathetic. He have no wisdom. He have no understanding. And again, this is not all, but I would say 8 out of 10 black men. They are weak and they are pathetic. And anytime you look at a community and whatever going on in that community, just look at the men. That's all you got to do. Just look at the men. Black men for years have, and the crazy thing about it is, and I got to say this, I have to say this, and the reason why I have to say what I'm about to say is because I had even bought into that at one time. I hear a lot of people say, a lot of these dudes who hate women on the internet, and what they say is, oh, the black community is the black woman's fault because for the most part, the black community is matriarchal. And I bought into that. I kind of said to myself, yeah, that makes sense, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. But boy, was I wrong. And me being wrong, that has been affirmed over the last 72 hours. Another thing I was wrong about, and I want to get all this out of the way before I, continue to move forward. I was wrong a couple years ago, and they still love. If you go on my YouTube channel, you can see them. I made videos about how I was against interracial dating, interracial marriage, especially for black women. And again, I was wrong. Because the average black man today, I would not want my daughter dealing with him. I'm just being honest with you. And if you deal with the average black man today, you going right down the black hole that he's going down. The order of Christ is God in Christ. The order of God is God in Christ, Christ and man, man over woman, woman over children. And that's why I said that any community, you must look at the man and you'll see what the community is. The black man is weak and pathetic. He have no wisdom. He do not worship God. You know what he worships? Money, clout, being the talk of social media, being the talk of his hometown. And vagina. Can't keep his zipper up for 5 seconds. That's why he don't have enough time to get an understanding or wisdom. Because he can't, and listen, because of this, right? Because the black man doesn't worship God and he worships money, clout, and vagina, God has allowed not caused, not sent, but he has allowed his woman, the black woman, to rebel against him, which has a trickle down effect. Now the children are rebelling against the woman. And then you look at the black community and the black culture, which is death, destruction, and damnation. And that's the sum of all that. Because the children, you know, a woman, and being in our community is mostly matriarchal, a woman, number one, she's not a disciplinarian. She's a nurturer. That's not her position to be a disciplinarian. I understand that certain women have to do what they got to do, but that's not her office. And once the child, especially the little boy, gets about 10 or 11, it's nothing else the woman can teach him, and it's nothing that she can do with him. He's a young lion. She cannot tame. Right? But going back to the black man, he is weak. He's pathetic. He has no wisdom. He has no understanding. He does not worship God. He worships vagina, clout, and money. So he don't have no understanding about what's going on in the world and why. So over the last 72 hours, of course, you had the scumbag liberal. But you had a lot of black men and women. And I'm not addressing the women at this point. I'm addressing the men, the people who's supposed to be the leader of their communities. You should see some of these dudes, man. You should see the comments and the thought process that they have concerning the Charlie Kirk situation. I'm talking no wisdom, no understanding, just void, just completely. Oh, he was racist. Oh, he got what he deserved. Oh, this, that, and the third. Just so, I'm talking about, I am embarrassed. They don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get the issue and why people such as myself was devastated by situations like this. You know, this bigger than Charlie. This bigger than what happened to Trump last year when they tried to assassinate him. This bigger than all that. My heart goes out to Charlie's wife, man. His poor children. And because the internet is real, one day his children gonna have to see what happened to their father. Because the internet is eternal, one day those children are going to grow up and have to see what happened to their father. And if you've seen videos of this man with his children, how they just love, he couldn't even go. I remember one time I seen a situation where he was doing, I believe, an appearance on one of these news stations, and he had to stop the thing because his daughter and them just wanted to run and hug and jump on him. This man was took away from that, man. This man was taken away from his family, from his children, from his wife, bruh. And that is heartbreaking. But it's bigger than that. This whole situation and why people who are astute are devastated by this. You know what this was? This was an attack on truth. And we understanding this been going on. We read our Bibles for those of who do. And we understand that when it came down to Jesus, they gave the people a pick. Who y'all want, Jesus or Barabbas? Barabbas was a bad person. You know who Jesus was. And of course, we know Jesus had to die for us today. But I'm just showing you something. In that time, they didn't know that. And they picked that man over Jesus because Jesus was telling the truth. Man, listen, bro. What happened to Charlie was bigger than him. People are devastated and upset, not just for his family, not just for how gruesome he had to go out, but the reason behind it. That's the big issue here. That's the big issue with what happened to Donald Trump last year. It wasn't about they're racist. If it was about race, a black person would have committed both of those acts. It was white people who did it. This wasn't about because they was racist. I watched Charlie, man. Charlie's one of the baddest. I like Candace Owens too. She cold-blooded too. But like Jesse Lee Peterson, there's a lot of them dudes. But that dude was so cold. Like, I've never seen him lose debate. I never seen Candace or Jesse Lee Peterson. Really, I never seen no conservative lose a debate, because most of the time we come in with not most of the time, all of the time, we come in with common sense and truth. And one thing about truth, you can hide it. You can do whatever you want to do with it. It doesn't stop it. The truth is not subjective. It's objective, right? So, I seen this dude, and this dude always, his core, his foundation, his base was Christianity. That was his base. That was his foundation. That was the main issue, or that was his modus operandi, and his whole thing was the Bible and God's truth. And of course, that bled out into other things and made him just be all the way pro-truth about everything. And the way he would do these debates would be so effortless. He would sit there, relax. He would have his mic sitting down. He would let the person who most of the time, well, not most of the time, 99.99999% was wrong, come up with their arguments or whatever they were saying. He would just, politely pick up the mic and, ask them, just debunk and make them look silly. And make them look silly without trying to make them look silly. Actually, he wasn't making them look silly. They were making themselves look silly. But like I say, I see white people, for the most part, of course, like I say, not talking about the scumbag white liberal, but I see for the most part, white people understand that this wasn't about Charlie. Why we so messed up about this situation? Again, yes, it was sad. Yes, it's unfortunate. Yes, it's tough. Imagining and knowing what his wife and his children got to go through. And man, shout out to his wife, Erica, man. In that press conference that she released earlier, I'm talking, this woman is something serious. She talked about how Charlie was a force. She is a force. And God bless her and their children. But this was bigger than Charlie. If this dude, we don't got the right to kill nobody because we don't got the right to give life. But if this was a guy who was a rapist, if this was a guy who killed people, or if this was a guy like you black people like to listen to every day, who rap and brag and celebrate death, him being assassinated or killed wouldn't be that big of a deal. We would say, well, hey, this is what comes with that. But to be somebody who was pro-truth, pro-God, and get assassinated in the way he got assassinated in front of the world to see, that's why. For all of y'all who seem not to get it, y'all never get it. That's why. Because that man was light. And one thing about, the scripture tells us how we supposed to, and this comes from him, what I'm about to say. The Bible tells us as Christians, we supposed to be the light and the salt of this earth. One thing about light and salt, they always change whatever they go into. This man went around college universities, and every college and university he went to, as time progressed, he had more and more supporters than he had detractors. But it's always going to be the devil in people looking for their viral moment and trying to prove truth wrong, which it can't happen. It just can't. You cannot turn a little boy into a little girl. You cannot turn a little girl into a little boy. It just can't happen. Nothing is impossible. Yes, it is. And it's all this man did. And for some young coward who was brainwashed by the liberal social media. Yes, his parents was conservative. Yes, his parents was yes, his parents was Trump supporters. But that don't mean a hill of beans today. Because guess what? Most of these people, I hate to say this, most people today, and this is not a race thing, this is just an American thing. For the most part, most parents today, and then again, this young man was 22 years old, so he was a grown man. But still, most parents today, they not really in tune with their children's lives. They wake up in the morning, they go to work, they work in 8 to 10 hour days, they get home, they cook dinner. They don't, I'm not gonna justify it. I don't have children, but I'm not gonna justify it and say they don't have time to spend with their children. But they not spending enough time with their children. They're not spending enough time with the people who they brought into this world to know how their mind is working. And I tell people this all the time. I tell this to parents all the time. If you're not the loudest voice in your child's life, the world will be. If you're not the loudest voice in your child's life, NBA YoungBoy will be. If you're not the loudest voice in your child's life, AOCs and all of these liberal talking heads will be the loudest voice in your children's head. So if you come up in a household that's pro-family, pro-God, pro-this and all that, but they on social media every day and their friends are telling them God hates gay people and gay people are normal and all of this nonsense that they is trying to make normal in today's generation. If you're not in your children's life, letting them know and being the loudest voice, telling them that's a lie, they lives to buy into that. And this young man, this young coward bought into all of that. And I tell people all the time, see, a black liberal is not nobody to worry about. Not for the most part. If you got a business, they can be worried about because they might try to play the race card on you and sue you. But for the most part, the black liberal is not anybody to be worried about. All he or she does, is get on the internet, cry, talk to their family members and cry, and they always whining and all they gonna do is whine and cry about racism. They're not going to do anything. They not a threat. But the white liberal, why they so dangerous is because they'll do what he did. They'll do what that loser did last year to Donald Trump. They'll go pick up a rifle and do something. That's why white liberals are so dangerous, and I think that they're scumbags. But it's a shame, man, that this situation, if you go on I'm talking about you got black people who speaking on Charlie Kirk who don't know nothing about nothing. I'm talking about just complete doorknobs. But because it's trendy to talk about Charlie Kirk, they went and did 2 searches on him, took some things he said out of context, and now they're talking about he deserved that. Like, do you know what you're saying, idiot? And don't get it twisted. Some of these people have children. Some of these people have grandchildren. Some of these people, listen, man, as if what you saying won't come to you or your family. And black people, man, listen, man, you know you ain't got no business talking like that. Because y'all community, y'all culture supports, loves, dance, and sings to death, destruction, and damnation. So for y'all to be on the front line supporting and bragging and happy and celebrating and saying he deserved it and all that, you need to watch your mouth. And if you listen to this and you hear this and you did that, you need to repent and ask God to forgive you. Because it was Charlie Kirk Wednesday, but it can be your son tomorrow. But it's so sad, man, that when these situations happen, black people never get it. They so shallow that they always go to, he was a white man, forget that white man. Just so silly. Yes, it was sad that it happened to Charlie Kirk, but this is so sad and devastating because do you understand what this means? But of course not. Of course y'all shallow as a community. Because the people who is above y'all community, the people who supposed to be, I'm going to say, the people who supposed to be leading y'all community, which is the black man, is weak and pathetic. That's why. But I digress. I want to just leave with this. And I was telling it to somebody, you know, and this is the even more funnier thing about this. This the next funny thing about this. You know, January through December, black people on social media, they're at work, they're at public gatherings, they're everywhere you see them, they're at church, crying and whining about black people. I mean, crying and whining about, oh, woe to me because I'm black. I'm a victim. This person got it out for me. I can't do this because of black. That's all they do. But for the most part, again, it's been them across all social media platforms celebrating this man's death. And they wonder why they go through what they go through. They wonder why they in the situation that they in. If you go Google anything bad, they lead in it. Abortion, fatherless homes, terminal illness, crime. Y'all wonder why y'all bid these jobs, these corporate America jobs, and y'all been there for 15, 20 years. And when it come time for a promotion, they skip over you and go to Ling Ling, Karen, Maria, even Amina. The Middle Eastern woman has come here and overtook y'all because she comes here. The Middle Eastern come here and get their education. They understand capitalism and they put them together and they go forward. They don't come here crying about what the white man is, the white man that, and they have to come here. You Negroes were born here. I said it once, man. I'm going to close with this, man. I said it once. And I say it 1,000 more times. Most black people, they curse, man. They don't understand why their communities are in the situation that they in. I just was looking the other day. Somebody said something. I didn't even believe it. I looked it up. It said that black women lead the nation in STDs. And then I said to myself, and it's not about me picking at black women. I'm just using this for what I'm saying. I say, again, all they men care about is money, clout, and vagina. That's all they men word. That's all a black man cares about. That's all he worships. And God is jealous. And because of that, God have allowed his woman to rebel against him unless he has money. And anybody who got money, because the black woman, she has been because her black man is not in order. She's just she's like a I'm trying to find a word. She's like a renegade. Anything shine, anything glitter is gold to her. Anything. Don't matter if that is real gold and not glitter. It can have anything, any STD. The black woman won't even care. Because she's been so far removed from her man 40, 50 years ago and depending on him being the leader of his family until she's in survival mode, man. So she'll do whatever to make sure she's straight, her and her children. And this has led her to open her legs up for people who is infecting her. Now she's leading the nation in STDs. And I do understand these numbers are attributed to us being number one because we are such a small percentage. I do get that. Right? So please don't come, oh, white people got, I'm saying, when you do things, when they do these statistics, they do that per capita. And what that means is if they have 100 murders in Louisiana and they have 500 murders in California, Louisiana going to have more murders than California because Louisiana is way smaller when it's having such amount of That's just how that works. That's how that number system works. So don't do the, oh, I know more. Let's not do that. All of the statistics that I just gave y'all, go look them up. You can go look. Matter of fact, they got a website called blackdemographic.com and it gives it to you all. You don't even have to go to Google, Safari, whatever you got going on. But I just wanted to make this video, man. And I just wanted to leave y'all with this, man. Like I say, man, rest in peace, Mr. Charlie Kirk, man. He did a lot of great things in his young life. This man was only 31 years old. And it was just so sad what happened to him Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon. But what's even more sad and what's even more hurting and what's even more devastating was why it happened to him. And that's all I got to say on that, man. I'm out of here.